Hello there. I'm Scotty. You're not. I have the windows open. Um, we'll see if I can concentrate. As soon as I say that, motorcycle on the highway. Anyway, so welcome back to the Smallville Retrospective. Of course, I am Scotty, and you are not. And we are talking about season 4, episode 2. Gone, gone, gone. There you go, baby girl, you're gone, gone, gone. With a title which doesn't really make any sense. You look at some of the other ones, like coming up, you have Facade and Devoted. Those make sense. The last one, Crusade, made sense because that's what the symbol in the barn was, you know. But this Gone, it's like they didn't know what to name it. Gone. I guess you could count that Chloe's gone from her grave. I don't know. Speaking of which, we start off picking up where the last one left off. We start at the crime scene of where the explosion happened at the end of the last season, the safe house. It's all blown to bits. Where Lois and Clark are investigating, and then Chopper shows up. Helicopter shows up with two masked men with these taser guns, which I assure you are a real thing. I think military government stuff, maybe, I don't know. But yeah, Clark takes down these two. Something I'm noticing is that they're not caring about, like, during the first 3 seasons, they took care of, you know, they had care in how, when it came to Clark using his powers, he would use them, like, whenever he wanted, but he would take care to make sure no one could tell. Here, he's just using them, like, this happens, like, he picks up this guy and flings him. Lois is, like, right there, but she's not paying attention. She's trying to run from another guy. He tells her to run. He starts doing this. He does tell her to run, so I guess. Flings this guy. Like, he flings this guy. This guy's not dead. So he's going to go back and tell his superior, this farm boy, flung me across the field. He's super strong. And then, like, you know, another guy comes up with the taser. He flings it. Looks like he gets impaled on the fence, but he doesn't. But the way he lands on the fence looks like he's impaled, but he's not. And then Clark just uses his heat vision to make the chopper land in the field. Which, no, if this was real life, it would crash. But because it's a TV show, it goes, you know. My problem is, someone in that cockpit definitely saw that. Again, he super speeds to Lois, and we see Lois kicking ass because it's Lois. One thing I want to note is, start with this episode, she starts calling him Smallville, which is taken from the animated series where Dana Delaney did the voice of Lois Lane. She's one of the better Lois Lanes. You know, she gets her Muggle Kidder. You know, there's less Superman than there is Batman when it comes to live action stuff. Well, movies specifically. But there's a lot of Batman things. Like, you can name off, I think you can have a top 10 Batman. Even if you include live action and anime, you could have that. But with Superman, you're going to struggle to find 10 Superman actors, right? Christopher Reeve, Tom Welling, Henry Cavill, not counting the new guy, Brandon Routh, George Newbern, Tim Daly. They were the voices on the animated series. That's 6. I don't know who did the voice in League of Superheroes, which, by the way, and I know that was of the time, should have been Supergirl that was sent to the future, not Superman. But of course, no one's gonna watch the show if it's Supergirl, right? They know Superman. I don't remember who did. Superman was in I think the last season of The Batman, they did a Justice League thing. I don't remember who did the voice there, but still. Those are one. Oh, and let's not forget, there's Kirk Allen from the 40s and George Reeves, from the 60s. So, 50s or 60s, the Adventures. So there's that. That's up to at 8, I think. But I don't know anything of Kirk Allen or George Reeves. So, yeah. I'm just saying. Anyway, so after that, we get awkward shower scene. Look, I don't know about Kansas, but here in Minnesota, we have locks on our bathroom doors. And we use them! Yes, so he's in there taking a shower with the door not locked, and Lois just walks in. And then he tries to explain to her about what happened with Alicia the previous season, and she's just, no, blah, 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 and of course, he goes to opens the door. First of all, now I'm not one to talk, but he gets out of the shower, and immediately all he does is wrap a towel around himself. He doesn't dry off, he doesn't dry his hair, he's completely wet. He just puts the towel around his waist and is going to walk out in the hallway. He's going to drip water all over the goddamn floor. And speaking of someone from experience, when that floor get wet, you going to fall. And he's Superman, so he's going to fall through and break everything. I'm just saying, just come on. Actually, he wouldn't fall. It's whoever walks on that floor next. So it'd be Martha or Lois. If Martha's there, she's probably tell him, wash your hair or dry your hair. But like, Lois would come out of that bathroom and slip and fall. I'm just saying. So, yeah. Then they get in trouble because of what happened, and Clark is forced to tell them the truth, even though it's not really necessary. But they went to see the grave. Because, not the grave, the you know what I mean, the crime scene, which is a government crime scene, because that's even worse than just that's a federal crime scene, that's what I'm saying, not just, a state crime scene, which is also illegal. And so, yeah, there's that. Then, yeah. So then, some other stuff happens. We'll get to it. Lex's part in this story is just to be there. I guess he doesn't really have a story beat. There's a part where he's kind of looking at something when Clark walks in. Is it this plane? Yeah, the plane. How someone he's told that somebody pulled off the door externally. He's like, well, how is that possible? I don't know. We know it's Clark, but he doesn't. That's when Clark is asking about Chloe, but we gotta get back to that. So Lois goes to Chloe's grave and digs it open to find there's no body in there. And part of me thought, if this is about Lex concocting a big plan, and if the military and the government's in on it, couldn't they have planted a fake body in there? Like, find a corpse, put it in there. I guess it wouldn't be a skeleton, but you could find a burnt corpse, a burnt female corpse, and throw it in there. Boom. By the way, Chloe's dad is credited, and I forgot. I'm like, oh, he's credited. Well, I don't remember him being in this, and I forgot he was there when it exploded. So technically, he's dead too. But nobody cares about poor Gabe Sullivan. She's like, well, my cousin's dead. Lois is like, my cousin's dead. My cousin's dead. What about your uncle? Oh. And he's not present anywhere near Chloe when they eventually find where she's hiding out, which... Okay. Here's a bit of a complaint. If we're supposed to have a shred of an inkling of anything that she's dead, don't put her in the credits. I caught that this time I watched it and I'm going, wait a minute, she's in the credits. So we're supposed to believe she's dead, right? And if there's supposed to be like a back and forth of, is she really dead? Is she still alive? If you're trying to, have believability that she might be dead, don't have her in the credits because that kind of gives it away. You could have a different set of credits. Without her in it, make us think, oh, she's actually dead, and then, boom, right? Also, I've always been frustrated at how long it takes for us to see Chloe again. Like, there's a point where Clark finds where... By the way, again, so I'm going too far into the episode. So Lois goes to the grave. There's this dude that shows up who has metal hands like the T-1000. There's a lot of comparing to the T-1000 is, by the way. Especially how he's taken care of. He attacks her. She tries to go off with pepper spray. He attacks her. Then we see someone from the neck down, who's obviously Lana, show up. Because who else could it be going to see Chloe's grave? Grabs a shovel, hits him with it. He's made of metal so it doesn't hurt him. And she sprays him with the pepper spray. So Lana's back. And then Clark is very uncomfortable as Lana brings Lois back to the Kent farm. I can't speak English. Yeah, it's a little awkward for him. Especially when Lois is standing there going, really? You two? And they're like, no, we never really started. Bullshit. You all did it for 2 days. You were holding hands, having a picnic by the tree. Yeah, you were together for at least 2 days before he put the red kryptonite on and went, bye-bye. Okay? At least 2 days. Maybe 1. 2 days at least. Okay? I'm just saying. And, again, what... The way they throw out exposition is like, we must have had fun in Paris, or something like that. And Lois is the one that says, I'd say a fling with a hot guy in the city of love, or something like that. And he's just like, really? That's how you throw out exposition for this? Okay. And going to the end of this, Jason shows up at the end of the episode with flowers. And for some reason, I could smell the flowers. I don't know. I'm sitting here. That happens. And they're talking. And I go, well, how can I smell the flowers? I don't understand. I started smelling flowers. I don't know why. Super sense. I don't know. I don't smell it now, but it was really weird. Maybe my brain was thinking flowers. And for some reason, my scent picked it up. I don't know. Because your brain controls all that. No. But he comes back, and it turns out she just left him a note saying, and this is verbatim what it says. Jason, I have to go home, but I don't have time to tell you why. Basically what it is. And it's like, wait, what? Again, it's the writing where we just have to have a way for her to come home. We don't really care how. We just got to get her to come back. And it's like, come on. Because if you're going to write it right, have her talk to Jason. Say, something's going on. I feel like I need to go home. Right? Like, I woke up with this. I don't know how, but I remember seeing it on a cave wall back home. And I need to go back. Or if she doesn't want to be that truthful, be like, I need to go back home. And he could say, well, I'm going to come with you. Because, it's 100%. Have him come with her. Then it would be more awkward as it's both of them there. Who's he? That's my boyfriend, Clark. Oh, hey, I'm Clark too. No. That's my boyfriend, Clark. Jason Teague? I know him. He's a football player, dude. As it is, they just sort of... He just shows up at the end. And, I'll get into it, but like it feels like this episode at the end is like the Lord of the Rings, Return of the King, where just like it's like this is gonna end anytime soon. At one point before that happens, I'm like, okay, it's over, and then we cut to her at the town. And I'm like, come on, and I'm like, really? I thought this was the next episode. Fine. But yeah. So going back to after that, the helicopters show up at the camp farm. Earlier on, we saw Michael Ironside. We find out he was actually playing General Sam Lane, Lois's daddy, who was invited to dinner, but they don't have dinner. He offers a cigar to Jonathan, but his heart's not the way it used to be, so no, thank you. A Chevello, which they only mention so that later Clark can see that there's one at the mansion, at the Luthor mansion. That's the only reason why they introduced it. Although then the very next shot is a Chevello box in his office, and then Clark. By the way, I want to talk about this. When Lois sneaks out to go to the gravesite, Clark is just sleeping on the couch. Dude, you have a bed or the loft. You're gonna sleep on the couch? Oh, and he sleeps with his shirt off because, look, ladies, he's ripped, and he is ripped. And I'm sorry, but I as someone who's not ripped, the only thing I rip is farts. Am I right, guys? Okay. Yeah, just self high five. Bye. Anyway. So he shows up at the office where she's digging through stuff and discover that he's been visiting someone who's already dead, and they figure out it's a cover name, and they figure out the address, and again, Clark just super speeds out of there. And I'm like, why are they riding Clark so recklessly? For the first 3 seasons, he takes a lot of care in making sure no one sees what he's doing. He looks to make sure there's no one there, he's looking around. If someone sees what he's doing, it's because he wasn't paying attention. No, it's because he didn't realize there was people watching. But he does look to make sure. Here he just does it. How Lois doesn't figure it out is beyond me. But yeah, so then he shows up at this other safe house that they got, and apparently this assassin that Lionel put out there already found her, which I call bullshit on, because it took this long for Lois and Clark to figure it out. How did this guy know? Not explained. He just gets there because they can't find Chloe yet. Because Clark can't be reunited with Chloe yet. So he just took her. And the 2 security guards are there. And then Lex shows up. And somehow Clark's not a suspect. And again, when Clark is, traces her to the old when Lex traces her to the old foundry, Clark just super speeds off again without just. Now I know he's done that before to Lex. This is getting to the point where it's just, dude, stop. You can't just use your powers whenever. They're going to. It's frustrating. It is really frustrating because they are riding him irresponsible. They're making him irresponsible with his powers, and that's not. I get it. He would not be thinking right when it comes to Chloe. But this is not. No, he wouldn't be using his powers as irresponsible. I don't understand the writing so far in season 4. I said series. Season 4. The first 3 seasons, he took a lot of care to make sure no one could see his powers. If someone was around, he would not use them. But now, he's just all willy-nilly with his powers. It's. Yes, he zoomed out on people before. But to have him use his powers irresponsible 3 different times in the same episode is a little too much, don't you think? Well, technically 2, because the other one's at the end of the last episode. Anyway, he goes to the foundry, and again, there's a continuity error, because in the Bug Boy episode, they said that the foundry is covered in meteor rock, and apparently they got rid of it because it's not there. Yeah, and he fights the guy, but the guy's strong with the metal, Is there kryptonite there? I don't know, because Clark gets knocked down, and then Lois shows up with the electrical taser gun, and electrocutes him, and he gets him all wibbly wobbly, and then Clark hits him with the laser vision, and he explodes into pieces and lands in the liquid metal. You know, like Terminator 2. And then they have a little back and forth, and they find Chloe. Chloe's happy to see Clark and surprised to see Lois. And and so we find out that Lionel is going to go to jail. He's going to go to prison. He's going to be locked up, supposedly, for the rest of his life. I don't know. By the way, there's a nonsensical scene where Lionel gets shanked in the shower. There's no reason why that's there, other than to have... The only reason why they do that is so that he could be in the hospital, and the guy that he hired can go talk to him. Although, bullshit, because he's a federal prisoner and would be in the prison hospital, not Smallville General, or Metropolis General, or whatever the fuck that is, and he would be guarded. So, no, it wouldn't work that way. But, you know, I'm just saying. It's the only reason why they did it, and it still doesn't make any sense. Yeah, they added on as Lana goes to talk to Clark, or they meet up in the Kwachi Caves, which is still a set, apparently. And they're talking about destiny, and Clark doesn't believe in it, and Lana sees this symbol, and blah, 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 blah. When she starts talking about destiny, he's like, "This is about that guy you met?" What? No, what? I get it. He's destined to be with her. I don't know. I missed Pete already. By the way, in the last episode, I forgot to mention this. Clark says that Chloe was his best friend. I'm like, oof. Sorry, Pete. Poor Pete. I just forgot about him already. He no longer exists until season 7 when he does magically exist again, I guess. But, and then we get one final scene with, I already talked about it with the Lana and Jason, and yeah. This episode was okay. It was a decent follow-up to the last one. I do feel like the last one was better, but this one was decent enough. I think there was less going on than there was in the last one. They were trying to tell so many stories, and at least here they lessened Lana and Lex to a point that we had at least a narrative we could follow without jumping back and forth. Lana and Lex were still involved in certain things, but it wasn't, it worked for where they wanted to place them here. You don't get to hear me rant yet, because this is not the episode where they say that Lois is going to go to Smallville High. It's the next one. So, yeah. So, what are your thoughts on this episode? No one comments below. You should like, share, subscribe. Thank you for watching. I've been Scotty, and I'll see you in the next one.